what Henna's win rate is all time on Ziggs?
Yes, please tell me.
It's 20%. He has won 1 out of the 5 games.
I thought some of the games he played, he looked fine.
Yeah, no, I think that honestly he's been robbed in a few of those. And remember, this guy was a bro player and is now on a B&K that was struggling throughout this year. But it is still not exactly really, like, the stats don't yell to you that you have to ban the Ziggs. So maybe they leave it up.
The Smolder ban here does mean that, you know, either Vi or Ziggs is going to go through for B&K, and I like these bans a lot on blue side. It's much easier to ban on blue side, so they get both the trees this time and the Tristana. We may just see first pick Corki for closer, but that's not what I'm hoping for. I think this definitely is a Ziggs angle. Korean commentators kind of giving a bit of a ooh when that Vi ban came through. That's the respect that Raptor is going to get, and so that Ziggs will come through. I thought we'd see a Ziggs ban in place of the Smolder here, because that's not really closer's play style, is to play the scaling late game mid Smolder pick. So I thought they would feel a little bit more comfortable. And then if they don't pick it, then you get it instead for BDD. But they leave the Ziggs open. And now, you know, Sejuani Ashe could be a rotation we see here for KT, since they love the Sejuani so much. Def loves his Ashe. Not the most fun lane into the Ziggs, obviously not the power lane that Ashe often does provide. But the Jhin is also available, and that's the main counter pick we've seen here in the LCK, especially towards what we were seeing in Gyeongju, popularized by Gumayusi.
Yeah, I really like the Lilia coming out as well, mainly because I just want to see Kyoshik on something else. I think that he had a really rough game. We know that this guy can get really emotional in how things go early, affecting what happens later into the game. And I think it was a very forgettable game from him in Game 1. Going to need a bit of a turnaround, and a change of pace, change of champion is a really good idea here. So the Corki does then go on over. This is looking like it's Gen G.
Yeah. Kyoshik really kind of popularizing and pushing the Lilia too back in 2020 on DRX.
Yeah.
Was very known for this pick in particular, as we will see the Cassante to come through here. As Raptor gets the Skarner, again, it could be flex, but very unlikely at this point. So that's a really different pick, a different look for him. But I do think it suits his playstyle quite a bit. He makes high impact plays. Maokai, for him, a little bit lost, I felt, sometimes on the map. The Skarner is going to feel a little bit easier, a lot safer, and more high impact in setting up team fights, as the Camille will be taken away. The next ban here for B&K, a little bit tricky. You could end up looking for a ban on the Azir, for example, but it's Lilia already, so I don't think that's what you want. You already got the Corki, the Tristana's already banned, so maybe support bans.
Yeah, or like,
they ban the Azir anyways.
I think banning away Azir from BDD, I mean, it's something that just feels good if you're against BDD, right? But I do think that Yone probably has to, again, be the last ban. I think that it really does finish out their damage profile really, really nicely. Hold them in place. You got a lot to play around with these deadly flourishes, as both of these Trinity Force top laners are going to be removed, the Jax and the Camille, just to make sure that Perfect doesn't have to deal with that. And let's see what this final ban is going to be from B&K.
I don't think we see anything crazy from BDD in terms of counter picks for the Corki, the Draven, the Lucian. I don't think that's going to be the game plan. That's fallen off big time.
Ooh.
And they'll ban the Poppy
Poppy's an interesting one.
Yeah. So, real question mark about what we're going to see here. BDD hiding it, it looks like, with a Rel lock. Man, that might just pull out the Alistar here. But you could still play Leona into this. Still have a lot of setup for picks. Satchel charge very strong, very good into the Lilia, very difficult to dive or punish the Ziggs at any point in time.
Is it a Susan angle? I know Clear really just likes playing Nasus, so it just might happen. I don't know. Sort of the vibe I'm getting. The Alistar does make the most sense, like you spoke about before, but now Clear has to make up his mind as to what he's playing into this Cassante.
The Gwen's making a big comeback right now.
Yeah, a bit of the resurgence of the running with scissors.
Aatrox here, quite bold, I think suits the damage profile. The Gnar is what you would see from any top team in the LCK in this situation. And Clear's Gnar has been very good, so I'm not surprised by this at all. And
it's not exactly, it's not really inspiring, but it is a very solid team composition to come out from B&K.
Okay, so he is going to go for one of these 80 counter picks maybe, or Beryl is trolling us, but Yone was the one that you were mentioning you thought was going to come in so strong with this draft. And when you see the Rel, it does really make you feel like this is such a Yone angle. There's so many combos to set up here. the sleep, the Magnet Storm, obviously the ultimate from BDD is going to be able to set those up or follow up on those so incredibly well. So will Cassante. And it is a very robust draft here that has a lot of frontline for the Jhin. The Yone comes into the front, the Rel comes into the front, and the Cassante blocks out, and then no one can really pressure or get on top of Deft as he opens up his ultimate and starts firing away. Great matchup into the Ziggs in the bottom lane. This draft for B&K, though, compared to Game 1, I'd say it's a pretty big upgrade. But is it stronger than what KT put together? I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so confident in that going into the second game.
I feel like it's way more even, and I think that that's absolutely fantastic. I just don't necessarily know if, like, it's going to matter. It's Hype and Way, by the way, from KT's Challenger team. Congratulations to them, by the way. That team definitely good as Prince and the gang. Yeah, Croco, Prince, and Kyle.
Yeah.
Bit of a blast from the past there from the Live Sandbox days. Now back to support B&K.
Yeah, Prince wearing a new jersey. He was here in 2022. He was the one in tears when they did not qualify. Now, B&K trying to make the upset happen, Atlas.
Yep, and I don't know, is it even an upset? They're up against KT, and we don't necessarily know. This time around, I think, like you say, things a lot more even coming out of the pick fan. Let's hop onto the Rift, see who's going to win. Oh my goodness. I think the KT fans certainly feeling a little bit of stress in game number 1 and have decided to transition that into volume of fan chant.
And we're on the other side.
Yes, we are. So that's a lot of volume. And also a lot of stress. They're KT fans. They're probably used to it. It's absolutely fine. It's normal. Pureshik taking a bit of damage here early on into the game.
Yeah, the observer's highlighting that Deft did start W off of that level 1.
Also took TP.
He did, to match some of those rotations. It's a lane where there's not much else you're going to get value out of. You're not going to want Barrier, you're not going to want Heal, you're not going to want Ghost on Jhin, so it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, you've got also possibly another lane swap coming on in here as KT going to be spotted on this ward.
You know, I was thinking about that group of B&K supporters and ex-Live Sandbox players, and I was like, man, that's Chronicle's hopes and dreams right over there on the bench.
Very true.
Cleared. Yeah, he's trying to figure out what's going on. He might not be happy with what he learns. He has to start Hop.
Yeah, he did put the Hop on cooldown, though, as well, which is a little bit of a worry, as Pureshik getting taken down very, very low. We'll be able to smite this Wolf Camp away. And I think should just be able to transition into clearing out this entire top side. 2v2 in mid lane as Deft on top side and the Ziggs with free time in the bottom lane. BDD is already taken down to 100 health. One more auto would do it. But he is going to have to use his flash, and BDD does make it out.
Clear's here.
Yeah, Clear is going to flash his way in, crash down to defend, and once again, the classic walk angle will be able to get BDD out of dodge.
I respect Clear for trying, but you know, he's like, look, I don't have Q, but with Hop I can extend the engage range to try to auto BDD and take him down. It does not end up working out, but the lane is kind of frozen away from BDD here. Very frustrating to play into this now. The minion's far from him, but Deft is just chilling in the top lane. They are pushing that out. Henna will be doing the same down here. Now, unlike Deft being in top side last time, they will have to TP to answer this because, you know, this is a Ziggs that actually doesn't have lane swap protection on his turret, so they absolutely will need somebody down here to keep Henna at bay. Perfect will be the option instead of Deft.
Yeah, Clear teleporting towards that top side. He's going to be the one laning against the Jhin. This Perfect does miss a cannon. Sometimes that's just it's just how it goes with some of these turrets. It get very frustrating with when they decide to kill the cannon minion. As Deft still just going to be fine, I guess, in this matchup. For the majority of the time, you really do outrange a Gnar, especially in the early levels. So it should be that Deft is going to be all right up here in the top lane. But I'm kind of on Orcs' side. Like, I want to know why we have top lane Deft. Like, is he announcing that his retirement's actually a retirement from AD carry and he's just going to be a top laner?
Well, the interesting thing about this, too, is you pick the Jhin to lane into the Ziggs, and obviously you have the range advantage and stuff like that, but not utilizing it in lane here at all, and then just putting him in top side, trying to get big advantage up there. They have gotten some, But if he just teleports bottom, it feels a lot better. His closer will be fine here. But again, they opt to teleport perfect down into the enemy bottom laner as...
All right. Cal versus Metal Pants Horse as, all right, getting a little bit more than they bargained for, but that's so much damage from KT. Closer will be taken down. Def just wanders up and shoots the Corki and collects the first blood.
That's why he was top lane. We solved it.
Yeah, no, that's
perfect.
it's just give him first blood. That's how it's supposed to go. It's supposed to happen last game, I guess. Well,
yeah, now he just TP's bot.
My time as a top laner is done.
Perfect. I'm going to need you to run up top side. Thank you very much for your service in the bottom lane.
Oh, man. Well, cannons are just not getting picked up this game.
No. Let's see about this one. He gets this one, right? Yeah. Okay.
Nailed it.
Some cannons.
Yeah.
But a little bit less than we would like.
Yeah.
As Jonas Strong will also show us this one. Throw, execute. Oh, collected.
Damn, that's like 2 in a row. This is crazy, the amount of cannons these players are collecting.
But we're going to see Barrel head topside here. Let's watch this play one more time. Now, Closer did flash earlier on the attempt to take BDD out, so he does not have flash. And this starts to get a little bit messy, right? You don't have control of the top side. Deft is rotating down faster. It's a fantastic double crash down here from Barrel, and Closer just has no way of getting out. Already used his Valkyrie to try to chase on the play moments before, and that's how Corki died.
Barrel, everyone.
There you go.
He's certainly feeling himself, and we know that Pioshik was having a little bit of a rough time, but sometimes all you need is a little bit of help from your friends. And Barrel, when he's on form, is very, very good. Still an enigma, but definitely can get things done. And I do like the fact that they see the fact that the Skarner is coming over the wall, and Barrel's answer to that was just bet. Like, I'm just going in. We'll find the two-man Shattering Strike into the crash down, the amount of chain CC, and the fact that Lilia does a fair bit of damage in this early game, especially in AoE, and you can layer that on top of BDD as well, who's able to get a lot done.
And you know that Clear is just not going to be able to come down there and impact play.
And Headbutt Pulver's on cooldown. Like, the cooldowns early for Alistair are absurd, and he's only level 2.
Yeah, and Closer also using his Valkyrie, try to get in there and take out Pioshik, or Barrel rather it was, who's the target. So a lot of mistakes there from BNK, punished as first grub will go the side of KT, but this is not a composition where either team is hyper-reliant on it. I still feel like BNK will absolutely love to get every single grub they can with a Ziggs in their composition, but it's not a Ziggs, Tristana, Jax situation.
Yeah.
So they still end up getting double here, 2 of the 3. What KT pick up, and they don't actually really have to fight for it, so feeling pretty good about that exchange.
Yep, I think KT were pretty happy just to make more of that tempo play, try and grab that one grub, get themselves out of there, and maybe if you want to fight for it, just fight for the 4 next time around. As Raptor turns up, but Deft is able to do walk and is able to get out of there even with no shoes.
Yeah, he does walk away from this one, and they have the TP for BDD. It's just going to send it mid. It is an Infernal Drake here to start things off, so we went straight from Soul to Solo Infernal, and this one kind of lingering. Yeah. But it's a very high value first dragon to pick up here for KT Rolster, and they are going to, with that gank top side, have a lot of control. The bottom side here, Perfect is holding this wave pretty well. Zig's not able to get that second plate, setting up to just secure this dragon, deny BNK that early value. So only got 1 grub, but denied 3, and we'll get the dragon on the cross map. As you can see in terms of CS right now, Clear significantly behind Deft, obviously, who's been laning against most of the time, but also very far behind Perfect. It really isn't missing a beat down there in the bottom lane against Ziggs. So that's really the big issue here for BNK. Obviously, there was a pick on to Closer, punishing his lack of flash, and an overextension there, but there's just no Gnar in this game at the moment.
No, not quite. And it's a harder champion to sort of find your way back in on as well. Like, it's a champion that does like to bully lane, try and get some of these early advantages, and hit those Trinity Force spikes as fast as possible, but it's just steel caps, you know? We've got no component of the Trinity Force variety even started yet for Clear, so it's going to take a while before he feels like any sort of threat, outside of the fact of he will have a big ultimate if he hits the Gnar bar at the right time, right? Like, that's why we see Gnar all the time, because there's just not often an angle where he's going to be entirely useless.
Yeah, and we do see that he also has Demolish, so we'll pick up some plate gold here. He's going to feel pretty good about that.
Yep.
And, you know, when you look at what Gnar can do into Cassante, especially with a weird lane swap early, it does kind of make sense that you could just abuse Cassante's resistances and just hold firm in the bottom lane into a Ziggs and then go, okay, well, now the Gnar can't actually get an advantage into a melee match if he has to lane to this Jhin, which is not going to be favorable. It's perfect, maybe in trouble now. He has Ghost.
Yep. He's the only teleport on this team as well, as Raptor is going to push him against the wall. He does have the all-out up and available. I like that he hasn't used it as Beryl gets the flash in, finds the crash down on top of Hannah. Mega Inferno Bomb just onto Beryl, but he's just fine. BDD gets over the wall. Perfect is still alive. The Impale is decent, but unfortunately he's the one that goes down. They do manage to find the kill onto the Rel, but Perfect still tanking it up. And a 1-for-1 is not what B&K wanted in this moment, as now there are minions running out. If they're still under this turret, they're just gonna die. Duro picks up the angle and the aggro, and Hannah is the one that picks up the kill. B&K, they make the best out of the situation in the end.
Yeah, now Deft will continue to get value here, though, on the top side is clear TP down to the play, so he is just solo eco. They're going to try to punish this TP as well.
I mean, I don't know about this one, Perfect. Satchel is going to be there. Beryl turning up, and will be able to at least keep his top laner alive.
That was very greedy. Every Cassante just feels like they could TP into 5 people. And look, I know we've all seen the copy pasta, but
yeah,
if that Satchel and that damage is there a little bit faster, his TP would have been denied. I think they probably would have waited, though, and hoped to kill him and punish him. He does barely get out. As we go back to the first dive here, I mean, there's just not much he could do initially, but obviously Beryl is rotating over, BDD is rotating over. There's a ping onto BDD, so B&K know they're on a timer here. The all-out is timed really well. Actually taxis with Duro up the top side of the fight, Ghost, so he can follow up. Then BDD trying to stack up his ultimate here, or rather his Q, ups to ult. And then this Raptor re-engage is unfortunately just a little bit too late. They end up turning this into a much better situation, but it's at the cost of both Nar's TP and that top turret for Deft, as they're not quite able to get that last ranged minion. So ends up being a successful set of kills there for B&K. But again, at a heavy cost on the top side of the map, as Deft has just quietly been taking this massive lead.
Yeah, he is absolutely huge in this game. And also walks real fast, as Raptor is going to be able to take the first grub out of the next set. Closer comes on over, and that is going to be 4 of them picked up now, as Beryl doesn't find the Shattering Strike. Henna coming on over, and that is going to be 5 grubs stacked up now for B&K, and now they get the Impale. Pioshik just going to get delivered. Does spin around, keeps himself alive as BDD trying to get in there. Duro taking a lot of damage, but KT, there's no follow-up. There's no answer, and Def didn't even press R.
Yeah, no, he did not. He was not in a great position to actually have that range there. Or perhaps thought that maybe BDD's counter-engage would have worked out better, and he wanted to wait for that, but does not work out. Runs out of bullets as well. So 5 grubs to a Ziggs, feeling very good here for the side of B&K. Again, it's not the giga grubs that we had in Game 1, but it's still very useful, as BDD also knows he is not safe.
Yeah. Well, we don't know anything, actually, as Jonas Strong is keeping us in the dark here. Headbutt does come on through as BDD snaps back, but he's still just going to die. And now Def gonna have to flash out of the way of that one. The turret getting angry at Clear, who has to flash. And there it is! The curtain's called on the over-aggressive play from Clear. Beryl not going to be able to defend this turret, though. And that should be even more money. Over to the Ziggs.
Yeah.
Satchel to get that extra money.
So it ends up being pretty good here for B&K, all things considered. Obviously, if Clear doesn't die here, then you feel much better about the situation. But they're able to get Deft's flash. He had already just teleported. So ends up going down, but at the cost of that top turret. And this is where, in this moment, look at the minimap in the recall of Deft, where you see that commitment come through from Clear while this is happening.
It was a teleport interruption from Clear.
Yeah. So he's just trying to come up there topside to save the play, interrupts, then looks for a little bit more, and unfortunately is punished here. Flashes to avoid the flourish, but ends up walking straight into that first shot from the curtain call. Deft is able to snipe him there. If he gets out, you know, you feel really good about the play. You guaranteed that top turret goes down, and then you escape. But he did not. But still, I mean, look at the Ziggs money here. He has stacked up quite a bit of it. Obviously, with Deft having that massive advantage top side, he is a technical lead, but the Ziggs really starting to start rolling down the hill, and they will get the second dragon. Let's see what the soul is this time around. Ocean.
Ooh, not exactly the most valuable, but could mitigate a fair bit of the poke that B&K does have if KT are able to stack that one up. I actually think a very valuable one on KT's side of things, just with the rockets and the bombs. That is getting ahead of ourselves because, honestly, B&K have had a lot of control around this map. I think that they have been making a lot of great plays, and KT have just continued to seem that little bit disjointed.
Yeah, it's they're not selling me on this too well right now, Atlas.
Yeah.
I mean, Deft is having a good game, but it's also kind of been spoon-fed to him freely because they just put him into a lane against Dinar that didn't show up half the time, and a lot of resources were given to him, and Clear fell massively behind the Cassante. And yeah, there are some pretty significant leads here, and there's kind of a gaping hole in B&K in that top side. The Ziggs is going to be a problem later on, though, in terms of map control. And that's what I'm most concerned about here for KT, because they don't have a comp that says, oh yeah, I side lane my way out of this. And also, B&K are going to end up getting this Herald for free. Yes, well, I mean, not perfectly free, because Perfect, I didn't mean to say
that was a good pun. I like it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't unintentional, but I think just my brain subconsciously did it. But he gets a turret, and they're trying to actually threaten this inner here, but I don't see any way that that is going to go down. And B&K should be able to utilize this Satchel plus Herald combo to take out the mid turret at will. Might even want to try to time it closer to that dragon to get some prio.
Yeah, it could be an opportunity there. We'll see where Raptor decides to put it. Closer catches the wave towards the bottom side. But with the fact that they do get like a full reset on the wave in bot lane, does give KT that little bit of extra leeway to get things happening. You can see 2-level advantage as a result of this and a 43 CS lead. And if we go back to our Challenger days, Wolf, right, this is not, like, Perfect was very good, but Clear was fantastic in his time in Challenger. And in their matchup, this is not what you'd often see. Oftentimes, it was Clear sort of running away with a lot of matches, and then Perfect, the one that augments his team later on in the game.
Kind of a bit of a flop on this one, but
and a very different story,
I was gonna say, like,
it's not their matchup.
Yeah.
It's odd seeing it.
We didn't see Deft in Challengers either, you know.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
playing Jin in the top lane. But yeah, I mean, but in terms of where we're at in this game, though, you know, Perfect had a hard job, too, against the Ziggs bottom side and mitigated it very well. Duro.
Yeah, Q going to be missed there. Nice footwork there from Duro, but can't get out of the way of the deadly flourish. Has to throw down the ulti. Is now Beryl in amongst 2 members of B&K. Henna throwing these bombs around. Mega Inferno Bomb. Beryl just going to die. Didn't have flash, didn't have any way out. And so that is going to be a 1-for-1 trade. And BDD looking to try and get over this wall. They do manage to bully out the Skarner, but there's 2 minutes left on the Drake. We're not really fighting for anything outside of pride.
Yeah, we were just fighting for a little bit of tri-brush control and Drake entry control here. KT do win the fight for that, even though they end up losing barrel for it. There's a lot of extra vision that is picked up here. So going back to this play, it's just Duro trying to give Closer some shadow here so he can actually continue to push. They also have the Ziggs coming over, so looks like a good setup here for B&K, but look at this flourish coming through from Deft, getting the root here onto Duro. His ultimate is going to make him durable, but probably should have used it a little bit earlier if they were going to actually try to commit to this fight. Beryl does go down in exchange here. Henna does ult him, but look at all the vision they gained from this 1-for-1 trade. I feel like KT definitely won out in the end.
Yeah, health bar leads in the end, so the disengage was on B&K. Agree with you. We can see still B&K have been able to get back out onto the map. Fair few control wards down. You can see actually there's a full line heading towards that dragon. You can see that they do really want to start stacking these up yet again. And I don't blame them. I think denying Ocean Soul would be a fantastic thing for their composition, but it'll also mean that in a poke battle, they will 100% destroy KT.
Yeah, KT, I mentioned they had all the vision, but they gave up control of it. Perfect.
Yeah. Closer is going to be able to get a bit of damage down, throwing some rockets over. Not exactly the member of KT that he really wants to be fighting, because he's very, very durable.
Let's see if BDD can try to put the pressure onto Clear in the side here, because they both have teleport, right? But Clear is level 11 here. It was behind Perfect, does only have his Triforce right now. Perhaps BDD could put that pressure onto him or force him out of the lane as he has done now, because that's how KT is going to be able to get this prio back. BDD is coming over, not expending his teleport. Clear loses his Narbar now, so won't have it at the outset of this fight. And this is looking good for KT right now. The Ziggs also pushed away, had to TP to mid.
Ooh, another deadly flourish, and now we're going to start it off with the curtain call. Raptor tries to drive his way out, but the ulti from BDD, his follow-up, is so good, and he's able to snap back out of dodge. That means no jungler, and that means that KT will grab their second Drake. Clear might be able to answer with a turret on the top side, but there are teleports aplenty here from KT.
Anyone could just TP back to answer as soon as they get those recalls to channel, and it looks like it's going to be Perfect, who's been assigned to deal with him. Doesn't even necessarily need
he can just walk up.
Yeah, because it's just a Trinity Force Gnar. Not like he's a Hullbreaker Gnar. It's not that type of situation. It's not that big of a wave. So he calmly will deal with this, but BD gets the faster rotation down. Clear decides to say, so this fight is not even. Henna ults Deft, but doesn't interrupt him early, and then it's just BDD's fantastic ultimate here. Out of all the CC being layered onto a Yone whose soul is unbound, that's how desperate the fight was going to be for BNK, but they still commit to it, and it goes very poorly. It's still that only 1,000 gold lead here for KT, but there was no cross map for BNK, and KT really didn't have to expend anything to secure that one.
Yeah, and this is sort of the first big lead that KT been able to pull off in this whole series prior to 30 minutes, right? Which is weird. That's sort of how it's worked. Is BNK looking to try and at least bully back a little bit of extra control of this one, utilizing the Rift Herald, but it only does 50% of the health bar.
Yeah, they'll need a little bit more.
Turret mid lane, exactly.
To activate the satchels. They weren't really set up for that one, unfortunately. And if the turret is sitting above satchel range, it's still going to continue to do its job, and you will have to commit further to a push to actually take it out. So the fact that they got Herald felt really nice, but in practice, in actuality, it's relatively insignificant here. Unless they can group up again, like I said, and push this through.
Yeah, well, that is another Deadly Flourish connecting onto Hanno, who does get zapped a little bit. 2-0-2 for Deft is pretty dangerous, but he is still a Jhin. He does have those zappy items, can run around real quick, things like that. It looks like he is going to go towards some armor penetration before the Infinity Edge. And he'll never really be able to get through Raptor, I guess, if Raptor's going to be built, like, actually picking up, you know, some extra money. His Heartsteel already starting to stack up, but there's no real big, like, traditional tank on the side of BNK. Yeah, so it might be that the Jhin will retain a lot of relevance this time around.
Oh, I think especially with the front line that Deft has, it's so difficult to punish him. We saw Hanna try to ult and then satchel him, but Deft still got value out of his ultimate in the last fight. And his flourish accuracy, this game
really good.
Crazy. Like, he also then sniped Clear after the flash on that mid play when he went for the teleport interrupt. He's just been having a fantastic game with Jhin. Again, part of this fed to him, but again.
Speaking of which, the satchel does come on through. Great knock-up as Hanna, the curtain close from downtown. Dura going to take the fourth one. Goes down to 50%, 3-0-2 for Deft's Jhin.
I mean, you can see the Seraphine, it's not Seraphine, the Seraph. It's kind of like Seraphine because it gives you a shield, but the Seraph's value here, but it doesn't stop Deft from actually just threading the needle and sniping you.
I think he missed the first one as well. He sort of waited for the knock-up to come in and then missed that one, but hit the one that counted as, all right, perfect, good footwork out of the way of the Impale, just barely missing.
Now this turret is just gone.
Yeah, they might even get a kill for it as well, as Clear does make his way in, but he's mini-nah. That is going to be a fourth bullet. Deft with some time to reload on the way out of that. And this is, like, it's so weird, Wolf, because this is where the drafts are a little bit more even. Blue side advantage for BNK, but this is KT looking way better.
You took the words out of my mouth. The thing I was about to say was, like, this is not the comp where you're supposed to get a macro lead and play the map better. That was the one last game.
Yeah, that's the other one.
But this is the one where they're playing the map better and just playing, in general, just cleaner game around, playing a cleaner game around the map and taking objectives as, you know, the fact that Clear is so behind, you spend a lot of time in sides, as, I mean, slept, rooted, ulted. This one misses. Duro blocked.
I was blocked, yeah, and then this one,
threading the needle, man. It's just crazy. Deft is just so good. But I mean, this is the composition where you can, when you know the Gnar is priced into just sitting in the side lane, track that and abuse it. And they did in the last two fights. The Dragon fight where they knew Clear didn't rotate down, BD rotated faster. This time not there for the mid-siege of the turret. And the gold lead is starting to get larger and larger here. We were like, oh, it's only 1,000 gold lead, and now it's double that for KT Rolster off of just one big play.
Yeah, now we got Shield Bow completed. The Mortal Reminder is done here for Deft, so he can start building towards, like, real damage items after sort of paying the armor tax.
Yeah.
Just so that he has some way of getting through Raptor. It does make a fair bit of sense. And as you're at this level, base armor is going to be enough to make it worth it. As KT just setting up for a little bit of a K-ramp. They do have a great 4-1 composition. It's not a 1-3-1. But the 4-1 works out with the Yone in a side lane, and that's what they're employing at the moment. But VOD is going to rotate up. Looks like we're trying to go for another 5v5 as the Magnet Storm into the backline. The ulti pulls them all together. Mega Inferno Bomb does decent work, but Pureshik goes golden. The Deadly Flourish again, and these curtains are deadly as it's a double for the Cassante. VOD, yeah, look, maybe it's time to move back now as you have single-digit health, but Def finds another one. The shield comes out, but it ain't enough to stop the 4th shot of this Jhin. And I swear, this is his best Jhin game his whole career.
Oh, no, it's gotta be. And the Jhin ban in game 1 is probably gonna make a comeback. You have to imagine after how this is looking as they pick the Ziggs this time, but Def gets an early lead and he pops on with the Barrel, doing such a good job here of not only preventing any peel for Raptor, but then also setting up the ultimate from VOD. And this is the front line for the curtain call that we were talking about. Deft is untouched. He is given so much agency, so much extra space as VOD gets the shield here, gets out, and Deft is just like, see ya later. I'm the counter to Ziggs, but I'm playing the best Jhin game of my life.
Man, that was decisive.
And that's a BF sword.
Yeah, I'm starting to. Yeah, no, we're getting towards Infinity Edge territory, and that's where it's just going to be really doomed. That means that they get to Soul Point as well, so 4.5 minutes until Ocean Soul is up and available. Good luck being a poke composition into that at that point in time. But the problem is, KT are just not waiting for any sort of engage. Like, this is Beryl on Rel. Like, he's just going to go in. And especially when they have a lead, nothing sort of stops him from trying to push that advantage, and that is precisely what's happening here. As Rift Scuttler going to be taken down here. Deft moving up, looking for an angle. Perfect right in there already. As Close have to get out. Hannah is in trouble, and that's another bullet from Deft. As Clear is also just struggling at the mercy of KT. The Mini-Gnar not going to do anything. Ulti from VOD is celebratory at best, but it does not matter because KT can run from them. But you're not going to stop him from doing this, Baron.
Nope. You cannot stop the Baron. You can escape dying, but the Baron will not be so lucky, and there's just no way into this pit. Raptor no flash. He's a million miles away. He's going to get the consolation red buff for his teammates. But KT Rolster, this is just way too much of a snowball here, and man, Hannah getting caught, but on top of that, the angle for Barrel, very good in that last fight. The all-out from Perfect at the same time. Like, Perfect looks like he's in trouble, right? But not really. When you consider how tanky he is and all of the follow-up here with Pureshik and VOD nearby, then he all-outs to pull...
special delivery.
Yeah, to pull himself back into then threaten Clear, who doesn't have an R-bar. It's just so clean here from Perfect, who's had a really good game of Cassante. 0 deaths. You know, managed the Ziggs lane in the bottom lane by himself so incredibly well. Doing what Clear could not, obviously, into a Jhin on the Gnar. And that lane assignment really put Clear out of the game. And now it's just such a huge lead here for KT. We went from 1,000 to 2,000 to 8,000.
Hype and way, just like, all right, yeah, maybe I can learn something from these guys. You know, they've been doing it for a while.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they are really good. If you guys haven't been watching Challenger this season, that bottom lane is, yeah, there's something else. Been playing together for quite some time as well. But yeah, Deft and Beryl having a bit of a day out here. The engages from Beryl, but the follow-ups from Deft. Like, I think Jhin is the champion where you can look like you do the least, right? Like, a Jhin that's just not able to get anything done is the saddest thing. But a Jhin from ahead just looks like you can do nothing against it. It's kind of nutty.
I mean,
Deft is that
like,
version.
He's having a Pays level Jhin game right now.
Yeah.
Honestly. And
that feels almost criminal to say that when
I know.
Pays is so young.
but I mean, Pays has had the best Jhin games. Guma had some decent ones. Obviously, he tried his best into Hanwha Life at the lower bracket finals, but Clear, he's got Mega.
Yeah, he wants to find the angle here. Does manage to block out the ulti. And VOD knew that there was probably someone else making their way in. And KT just utilizing the extra pressure. And we'll be able to take this inner turret down. We are really very quickly heading towards the 10,000 gold lead as the curtains have been called. Looking to see whether they can play the DDR. Duro just going to be blocking it. Oh, God. Could be getting sleepy now as Raptor looking for a bit of an angle here. VOD wanting to get on in there. Doesn't have the ulti, remember, is perfect. Okay, 1v5. I don't know about that one. I think knew he was dead, but he'll take a cow with him.
maybe all out the other way, maybe towards your teammates.
Yeah, that was an all-in.
Yeah.
But they still get an inhibitor turret for it, and maybe it's fine. I don't know. Maybe they get another inhibitor turret.
I think they will. Definitely didn't look the cleanest, but it doesn't necessarily ultimately matter here. 30 seconds left. Just a few more of these cannon shots would do it. Raptor's going to commit the smite, and they will save this inhibitor turret, but it's as good as dead. And sneeze on it, and it'll go down.
I have to say, though, Perfect dying there, actually worse than it had immediately appear, because he was 4-0-6.
Yeah,
so that's a big shutdown.
It was a big shutdown. He does have teleport to come back to this dragon fight, however, and they don't have, I mean, there's no real prio here for BNK. There's also several wards after that push from KT with the Baron that he could teleport to if he wanted to flank, for example. That's exactly what he's going to do. Here he comes.
Yeah, already getting on in there. Remember, Deft can follow up from about anywhere. Banana Brush has been picked up. And Perfect is not stopping. He's just going to walk in. Deadly Flourish. Deft in a great position. Duro finding a bit of a headbutt back onto Pyoshik, but he just doesn't seem to care. Goes Golden. He'll be absolutely fine. The first kill onto Clear is going to go down. These wallets are absurdly heavy. Just in time for Natlan's release, says Beryl. And he might be falling down here. As, all right, BNK, oh God, they're routed. There are the curtains. Misses the first one, lands the second. One left in the chamber, the stun goes down. It's a double for the Jhin. That'll be the ace, and I don't think a Dragon needs to apply as KT will walk it down the bottom lane and look to make it to a very early match point.
Deft tricked me. I thought Jhin was just supposed to be walking around reloading Atlas. He's not supposed to be 10-0 and 8. Deft is making a case for maybe one more dance. We're not there yet. They've got to win a third, and they're going to have to beat T1. But what a performance from the legendary 80 carry. KT rolls to making this second one look so easy.
And I remember back to 2018, Deft face checking on Jhin, losing a series, and it felt awful. This was catharsis for all of those Deft fans that see the Jhin lock in and immediately react with a cringe. We are going to now immediately react with a pog from now on, okay? That's what it's given us as Deft fans. Absolutely beautifully played. And I tell you what, KT making a much more even draft state look way less playable for BNK. And look, you wouldn't have it any other way.
No, and the top lane Deft in game one certainly left us head scratching a little bit. It wasn't horrible by any means, but it did feel a little bit peculiar. But in this case, it gets so much value out of it. And Perfect had a fantastic Cassante game. BDD following up on the engages. Beryl is popping off. This is the family KT, right? This is the KT where everyone's on the same page. Everyone's making smart plays together. They're oppressive. They're making good macro plays. It's night and day. We only get this KT 50% of the time. We didn't get it in game one, even though they won. In game two, they were absolutely ready to take a family snapshot next to the Nexus. This is peak KT at their best. We'll see if they can continue that moving into the rest of the series.
Yeah, and it looks like a very similar goal graph, but this one was in half the time. We'll see what we're going to be in for in game number 3. It is time for us to take a very short break. When we get back, the space is going to break it down, and we'll have that third game. We'll see you there.
내 메가다
알리 풀 있다.
나갈게.
나가.
야, 뼈 많이 걸렸어. 얘 포차 많이 걸렸어.
아.
야 이거 볼게
천천히 봐봐.
볼게.
알리 너무.
다 되었어. 나 떴었어. 잘해볼게.
나 펴줄게 이거.
야, 막커정.
아.
나풀 게
걸었어.
너플.
알리는 잡았어.
또 봐야 돼. 나
네,
이제.
딜러 다 넣고. 쭉이다. 길게. 길게.
쭉 가자.
오, 진짜. 얘들아, 나 못해줘. 얘 딜러 다 넣고. 딜러 다 넣고. 서로 발키도 방금 빠졌어. 와우.
들어가자.